We have some news coming out of Santa Clara today as Kyle Shanahan meets with the media to discuss a bunch of different moves, but we have some additional roster moves and we have a mega practice update as the San Francisco 49ers kick off their first practice of the week to prepare for this game against the Ravens. And obviously the timing's a little weird. Typically the first practice of every week begins on Wednesday, but because this is a Monday night football game on Christmas, the schedule's kind of bumped back a little bit. So the 49ers do start their practice today. And so we've got a lot of non-participants that we need to go over. And we also have some roster moves. So let's start with the roster moves. The San Francisco 49ers have activated or promoted, I should say, Jeremy McNichols, running back, to the active roster. So this is going to be something interesting that we can watch out for. If he's going to be a guy that the San Francisco 49ers ultimately put maybe as a returner, I know he brings a lot of special teams value to begin with, but he is now on the active roster, so the 49ers won't need to bring him up each and every week via the practice squad because he has been an active performer for the San Francisco 49ers. So we will see what his impact is going to be. He's 5'9", 205 pounds, runs a 4.49 40. This is correct. Not like when I said the defensive tackle that the 49ers just signed ran a 4.28 in a previous video. He runs a 5.28. Just wanted to clear that up because that would be insane if a defensive tackle ran a 4.28. But obviously, in a corresponding move with Jeremy McNichols being promoted, the San Francisco 49ers add Taylor Stallworth, the defensive tackle, who runs a 5.28 to the practice squad. So obviously, that is going to be a natural correlation to the 49ers' updated practice kind of availabilities that we will talk about here in just 1 second. But Jeremy McNichols, again, he was with the San Francisco 49ers at one point in time. Previously, the 49ers have brought him back multiple times, actually, since then, and he gets onto the active roster. He's only 27 years old, will turn 28 next season. So the 49ers will see what Jeremy McNichols can provide. He's clearly taken Ty Davis's price role. TDP is still on the practice squad, but they just now kind of swap spots. But let's get into the practice reports, shall we? Let's talk about who isn't practicing today. So this is obviously one that we are going to be monitoring very closely this week. And the reasons why is the 49ers starting pair of defensive tackles, Arik Armstead and Javon Hargrave, have missed some games recently, and we have seen the repercussions of that in the form of a lot of rushing yards on this defense. So those two guys are imperative to get back against a team that is really strong and stout against in the run game. So let's go from the top to the bottom, shall we? So this is from Jennifer Lee Chan. Not practicing today. Defensive tackle Arik Armstead still dealing with the foot and knee injury. Defensive tackle Javon Hargrave dealing with the hamstring. So the idea is that hopefully these guys are going to rest against the Cardinals and hopefully be available against the Ravens. Obviously, not an ideal start. However, it's also not an ultimately detrimental start either, because both of these guys are veterans. Both of these guys could use the rest, deserve the rest. So I'm not concerned yet. But if we get into Friday and Saturday's practice availabilities and neither of these guys are participating, then our alarms are going to start ringing, because that is going to have them trending in the wrong direction. Now, we have also seen, I think earlier this year, it was Javon Hargrave didn't practice all week, and then he played in the game. I believe I'm remembering that. Correct me, and if I'm not, correct me in the comments below. But let's go through the list. Obviously, of who else is not practicing today. And of course, we know what the status is if those two defensive tackles can't go. It's going to be Javon Kinlaw and Kevin Givens back in the starting lineup, with T.Y. McGill likely elevated from the practice squad. So as we continue on with the players who did not practice today, running back Elijah Mitchell doesn't practice today. Man, something's going on with Eli, man. Again, he played, and then he practiced on a Wednesday, and then he downgraded to DNPs, and then we haven't seen him since. And that was about 3 weeks ago. So I wonder what's going on with Elijah. Um, Elijah would obviously be a great addition to have for the 49ers running back room. We've already talked about Jeremy McNichols being elevated to the active roster. That might be a sign of something larger happening with Elijah Mitchell. Again, we haven't, because it happened in practice, it's been kind of low key, like under the radar of what exactly has happened to him. But he's not trending in the right direction. The fact that he's still not practicing is unfortunate, because when Elijah Mitchell is healthy, he can be a great addition to this running back room. But we know what it is. We hear it all the time. The best ability is availability, and right now that's where Elijah Mitchell is having some struggles. So hopefully he can get healthy and get back at least for the playoffs, because I do think, especially, or at least within these next 2 weeks after the Ravens, because although the 49ers don't want to take their foot off the gas against the Commanders, against the Rams, guys like CMC, I would definitely be looking to try to, keep him fresh in some sense. Now, I'm not saying completely limit his workload. However, I would like to see, more integration of Jordan Mason and other backs to just make sure CMC's as fresh as can be heading into the playoff run. But we'll continue to see what's going down with Elijah Mitchell. No surprise with tight end Ross Dwelly dealing with an ankle, linebacker Oren Burks knee. This was reported when they were both originally injured that they weren't going to be able to go for a couple weeks. So this isn't really, shocking news that they are likely going to miss this game against the Ravens. The other one that's on here that we will continue to keep an eye out for is wide receiver Jawan Jennings, who surprisingly popped up with a concussion and is currently in the concussion protocol, and he did not practice today. So the positives with Jawan Jennings is he still has potential to get and clear through the protocol. So we just got to wait and see. So we're going to keep monitoring those particular practice updates to see if we can, at minimum, get some limited participations that will help us provide the information that they will or will not be playing. So those are the things that we will continue to look out for the rest of the week. And last but not least, Cleveland Farrell, limited participation. That's good news for us. So that's what we got in regards to some additional roster moves today. We've had 2, and then we also have some practice updates, and not the most ideal updates, but that's what we got. And I would imagine right about now, as I'm making this video, they're going out to practice. So we might get a little bit more information in regards to who's working off to the side, who's not even there to begin with. So there might be a little bit other things to deal with, but we will continue to monitor the situation as it progresses. And as always, you already know what to do. Make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.